The meeting of the Plaquemines Council as sole governing authority of the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District is now called to order. The machines are open for roll call. Let the record reflect that 8 of 9 council members, commissioners are here, and Commissioner Gouy is absent. Next item on the agenda.
Item 2, executive session. There is none. Item 3, status report by the Executive Port Director.
So we're actually going to put the slides up on the screen. All right, so if you can go to the next slide, please. So what you see in front of you is the financial update for the port. These numbers are exactly the same as the last meeting in July, so there are no changes. Any questions? And I'd like to just mention here, last bullet here is we are introducing the resolution for the tax-exempt bond today, and that is, again, there's no action going to be taken as a result of that vote, but it actually puts us in position for actually going and executing a tax-exempt bond in the future. Grant strategy, again, we talked about it last time. We have over $70 million in grants received over the last 18 months. Currently, the port is waiting on a decision on 2 existing grants for the amount of about $40 million. And then the port did initiate discussions with the parish for a potential grant opportunity that could cover the matching for White Ditch to Braithwaite. So those conversations are ongoing. All right, next slide. Point Hash Ferry Landing, again, that contract has been awarded to Deep South. The signs are posted. The port's seeking town hall meetings on both the East and West Bank within the next couple of weeks, just to give the public an update. And those projects are on target to be completed by January, no later than January of 2025. We're not anticipating any other delays at this time. Next slide. Walker Road, the grant funding of $7.4 million is available to us. We have a target to obligate those funds October of this year, and we're in the process of completing that application. Now we're going through the editing process, and we anticipate that application will be sent back to the Federal Highway sometime mid next week. Back, please. We're seeking to finish that engineering and break ground third quarter of 2026 and complete that project fourth quarter of 2027. We do have regularly scheduled meetings now to keep this progress moving. Peters Road, the general surveying is underway. As I mentioned at the last meeting, HDR has started the process. We've actually received the first invoice request, so it is moving. There is a stakeholder meeting scheduled for the 15th of this month, so next week. The Union Pacific will be at that meeting, as well as all of the other critical stakeholders. So that project is moving. That contract between the City of Gretna and the Union Pacific is in place. Obviously, the CEA, we put that in place last year. So I'm very excited to know that all of the stakeholders are working together to forward that critical project. Next slide. Water Booster Station, we did receive last month the official authorization for an additional $4.02 million commitment. That's an $18 million grant that we received as port priority funds, and we can receive up to $5 million per year. In 2023, we received $5 million. In 2024, so far, we've received $4.02 million. We anticipate receiving the balance of that $18 million in increments of up to $5 million a year until that project is complete. We do have a slight delay on the water booster station. We are still waiting on an electrical component. That's why you don't see the booster station actually on the platform at this point. And we did receive official approval from DOTD actually this week to award the contract to Talbot. So we will be moving forward with that. And we're anticipating finishing that project first quarter 2025. And just as a reminder to the Port Commission, as we finish that project, we will hand off to the parish, and the parish will have the next step in terms of connecting that water line to the Port Sulphur Water Plant. But it is something that we're in communications with the parish on a regular basis. Very exciting news this week. Obviously, Venture Global is planning a maiden voyage. We've had a couple of coordination meetings. The vessel's ETA is within the next week. The port will be tracking that vessel through the pilot's Mr. Tiz system, and we will be updating the Port Commission on the positioning of that vessel. Again, this first vessel is actually imported LNG, and the purpose is to reverse the process and actually import LNG into the system to actually cool the system, so that when Venture Global starts the exporting process, that the tanks and the pipelines are already cooled. Next slide. The SP contract phases 3 and 4, obviously that is on the table to be voted on today. We're estimating trying to complete phases 3 and 4 by the end of the fourth quarter. So, next slide. Master plan. The master plan is complete. I did send everybody an electronic version of the capital infrastructure plan. I have hard copies of it. I also have hard copies of the master plan. And I'd just like to emphasize the master plan is really, think of it as a technical business plan. It is very in-depth. It really looks at all aspects of everything that we're trying to do, not only over the next 4 or 5 years, but also it has a 30-year forecast in it. But then that capital infrastructure plan, what we call the CIP, is really now the port's playbook. We have already, started referring to it on different projects, talking about the Point Lahash ferry landing, talking about the different, the Walker Road connection, the Peters Road connection. We can actually now take this project plan and actually make it part of what our budgeting process for 2025, and we're going to actually have a 5-year forecast on our budget moving forward. Next slide. That concludes my report. Oh, one last thing. I am very excited to report that we did select Ms. Harolyn Sherman as the HR manager. I will tell you, it's been a long time coming. She's worked very hard. I think the entire port has been working very hard, and I was very happy to be able to select her for that position. That concludes my report.
Mr. Chair, I want to tell you, I really appreciate this format because it gives our constituency at home something tangible to look at, and people here something to look at and visualize and really see where we're moving as a port. One thing, if you want to mention also the meeting we're going to on Monday that actually helps support and features some of this stuff with regards to Peters Road, Walker Road, the bridge. We have a meeting when many of the commissioners are attending.
That's correct. So thank you for reminding me of that. So we do have a meeting on Monday in Baton Rouge. And the main reason we're going is for it's a Senate Transportation meeting, and there's a section in there talking about CMAR, which CMAR is construction management projects, projects that are at risk, and the CMAR process is being used in a couple of places around the state today, and that is something that. We want to make sure that we understand what that process is and that we're part of the dialogue and, determining whether or not that's a fit for us in the future.
and members of the administration are also going, so we're working in tandem to really push this effort to both help the parish and the port. So I appreciate that. Any comments from the floor? From the commission, Commissioner Kogovich.
Yes. On the Walker Road Bridge engineering and design, I know the DOTD had the money in place for the bridge. Do they have a plan engineered, designed on the shelf already that we could use?
So the Walker Road Bridge, that design was actually completed by the engineering firm BKI. They participated in a meeting with us earlier this week, so they do have 100% design. And this grant is actually going to allow us to take that design, drop it down from 100 feet to the same height as the Belle Chase Bridge. And that's going to actually bring the price down. And we'll take that from 30% design to 100% design with that $7.4 million. Then I'd also like to point out that there was some other funding that was identified, approximately $7 million for another transportation project further down the road that I understand that the commission had some good conversation about that this week, that funding could end up being tied back to connecting the road to that bridge. And I think the most important thing about the bridge is that we have set a date on when we want to obligate the funds, when we want to break ground, and when we want to complete that project.
Commissioner Newsom.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. You spoke on that, and we'll speak later, kind of offline about that. We've had some conversation with some of the council members. Also, can tell Ms. Howland congratulations and send the email out, but I'll tell her we have plenty of seats available for her to come to these meetings, so thank you.
Okay. I will pass that on, and I will invite her to the next meeting down the road.
Any other comments from the commissioners? Next item on the agenda. I'm sorry, Commissioner Edwards.
Yeah, Charles, I want to thank you for entertaining the meeting with us as it relates to the Berkeley Levee project. That was a very inspirational meeting, and then the follow-up you did with it. So at the time to give us a little glimmer of hope. So I really wanted you to take the time out because there wasn't nothing on the schedule, and you made it possible, and I would really, really live there hope for it. So really, I wanted to really thank you on behalf of the District 1 for what you attempted to do for us and the conversation we had on yesterday. So I really want to publicly thank you for that.
Okay, thank you. And yeah, I mean, and that all started with you invited me to the meeting, to two meetings on the East Bank, and that levee project was a very sensitive issue on both of those meetings. So I'm just happy that I was able to bring a grant opportunity to the table, and we are coordinating that with the parish. And I will tell you, in those two meetings, the parish was beat up pretty bad over the concern, and I'm just happy that we have a grant writer that paid attention to what we were looking at, and she's found an opportunity, and that opportunity will actually help us to take care of the matching funds for that levee project. So very happy to be of help, and any other meetings that we're invited to, we'll definitely be there. So thank you, Commissioner Edwards.
You don't mean that last part.
You hear that, Mr. Broxel?
No, we believe that. I mean, if
I'm going to joke.
well, we know we'll take some shots in some of those meetings, but we know that everything that we do in the growth process, we have to make sure that we're focused on the community, and the only way we're going to do that is to interface with the community. And Angelina reminds me of that every day.
Do you have any comments from any of your directors?
Any comments?
All right. Any other comments from the commissioners? Next item on the agenda.
4, bids and advertisements, there are none. 5, introduction of ordinances and resolutions.
We have 2. A resolution authorizing and directing the port chairman to extend the engineering consulting agreement with Kyle and Associates, LLC, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. And an ordinance authorizing Charles D. Tillotson, Executive Director of the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District, to issue task order number 6 for Infinity Engineering to recreate the computer-aided drawings, recreate needed surveys, and start the Surface Transportation Board process for the 11-mile rail extension project, and to amend the 5-year capital improvements plan, 11-mile rail CAD survey project, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto, and those are both under Commissioner Champagne.
Thank you. Next item.
6, ordinances and resolutions on second reading and final passage. There are no items under 6A. 6B, a resolution authorizing the executive director of the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District to introduce and implement the master plan as a foundation for the strategic planning to secure the port's competitive edge and operational excellence, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Commissioner Champagne.
I offer and ask for a second. Seconded by Commissioner Newsom. Any comments from the floor?
Arthur Henry, Bell Shakes. So we physically have a master plan that can be viewed by the public?
Yes, sir. And if it's approved, it will be posted on the website just like we did the market study. It's for the people to take a look at, certainly.
Okay.
For the people. Any other comments from the floor? From the commission, Commissioner McCarty.
Mr. Henry and the audience listening, I want you to know that when you review this master plan, it's taken some time to put it together, but it's a living document. So that means that as the environment, as market conditions change, we change the document to make sure that we're as sound as possible.
Thank you, Ms. McCarty. Any other comments from the commissioners? Machines are open.
Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Edwards. Oh, he walked away? Okay. Then I'm not sorry.
And it passes 7 in favor, 1 absent, 1 not voting. Next item.
C will be withdrawn. D, a resolution authorizing the execution of a master goods and services agreement and riders to proceed with Phase 3 and 4 of the 11-mile rail extension project and funding the additional cost for the project, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Commissioner Champagne.
I offer. Ask for a second. Yeah.
I'll second, so we.
Second by Commissioner Newsom. Yes, we're on D. Any comments from the floor? From the commission, Commissioner Kognovich.
What's the extra money for?
Extra money.
So, because SP had a contract, and they've yet to deliver 1 and 2. But in the contract, there is no deliverables from SP. They just put up the money. Somebody else hired the engineering firm. So why is SP getting more money now?
So I think the question is what's behind the additional $1.2 million, which increases the cost, the price of the intellectual property from $8 million to $9.2 million. And the answer to that, in short, is though we received the Phase 1 and Phase 2 30% design, we did not or were not able to recover the computer-aided drawings associated with that 30% design because of a subcontractor of the previous project manager, which was LA23. And as a result of that, we actually have to go back and recreate the computer-aided drawings based on the physical drawings that were complete. We do have the physical drawings in PDF form, and because of the timing gap from 2022 to 2024, there are some issues with some of the surveys. There were other subcontractors involved that are no longer involved, that we have to go back and we have to redo those surveys as well. In addition, there was a Surface Transportation Board application process that was part of an ordinance. I think it was July of 2022 that was introduced, but it was never approved because at that same time, the previous executive director's contract ended, and shortly thereafter, LA 23's contract ended, and so that ordinance was never approved. So that's part of the additional $1.2 million.
For what we done paid, we should have sections 1 and 2. We don't have them. So why not just get rid of the SPD altogether if they're not going to give us 1 and 2 that we paid for already? And hire this company because they got to start on there again and do it all themselves. So why we go after the declaratory judgment or tell SP you violated the stipulations of the agreement, the contract, so we walking away from the contract?
Commissioner McCarty?
I sat with Mr. Tillotson and Mr. Surpass, our finance person, and did a loose accounting analysis. And I don't have the numbers in front of me, but basically, if we go with SP and we do this and we follow through for phases 2, 3, and 4, it's going to be a little over $10 million. If we don't go with SP, because we need, right now, we need the CAD drawings. If we let SP do the CAD drawings, and then we continue to go through the entire process of the contract, it's going to be a little over $10 million. If we don't use SP and we hire somebody else, and we cut our losses, hire somebody else to do the CAD drawings, and then we continue to go through the process, it's going to be a little over $10 million. So it's a loose break even. But if we let SP do it, then they get tariffs. They get additional money because they're lending us the money up front to do the CAD drawings and other product design. If we do it ourselves, then we get to keep the tariffs. So after the 10 million roughly break even, we are going to make additional money because the tariffs will come to the port. Thank you.
So can I just comment, Mr.
Yes.
Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner McCarty, and I just want to make sure that we clarified. I really did appreciate that meeting that we had, and I think we did. We spent some time, and we really peeled the onion back. But I want to clarify that SP will not, or they've never done the work themselves. The only thing that SP does is deploy the capital, right? And in terms of the way that capital was deployed, it was not for a loan, it was for a concession agreement, which ties back to the concession rate that you just referred to. So I just want to make sure we clarify that, for the record, that because a loan implies that it is debt, and it is not. This was a concession agreement.
Thank you, sir.
So thank you.
Mr. Koglovich?
Because this contract here has nothing to do with SP getting tariffs. The second contract, which was to borrow $50 million from SP, they would build the rail, and the tariffs would pay them every container that went across it. We would get a little, they would get a lot. They would own the rail. We would never own it unless we came to them and said, okay, we want to buy it. Then we would have to pay them another $50 million or whatever it come up to. They don't get tariffs until we go to the second phase. This was just, here's money, go engineer and design, get the right-of-ways, which we don't have a right-of-way. We don't have a drawing. We don't have anything. And how much have we paid them till today?
Yeah, that's correct. So we have not paid anything.
We've paid SP.
Oh, well, we pay, when we're stalled, we pay a monthly fee. But when, as soon as we execute, and when we were in the process of working the intellectual property, there's no payment coming from the port. So
We've paid them a monthly fee because
since we've been stalled, so since the latter part of 22, all the way into 23 and 24. We pay a monthly fee, but we have not approved moving forward with the project. So as soon as if we approve moving forward with this project, that monthly fee stops. And then just to talk a little bit about the $8 million for the intellectual property, you are absolutely correct. The contract stipulated that SP would deploy $8 million. That would be the funding that would be deployed for the port and its appointed project manager and subcontractors to produce all of that intellectual property, surveys, permits, completing applications, etc. When that's complete, then the process stops, and then you go into the construction process. So once the construction starts, that $8 million, there is no fee. It rolls into the same pot with the construction dollars. Once the construction is complete, then and we start actually moving containers, then the concessionaire, which was SP, would have a unit rate, and it would be higher than the port's unit rate because they deployed all of the capital. And I think the one thing that's very important for us to point out here and for us to understand is the way this process worked in 2023 when we finished our audit. The port did not have and does not have any debt on its books for that $5.7 million. And if we went all the way through under the Gatsby rules, we would not have any debt. And that's how that concession agreement is structured.
How much money has SP given to the port so far?
So the SP has not given the SP has deployed capital in the tunes of $5.7 million for phases 1 and 2 for the intellectual property.
To the person who was the port hired to run this stuff. Now, every contractor he's hired for that $5.7 million, where they at now? Because they still waiting to get paid.
I think some of them are. That is correct. I agree.
Thank you.
Commissioner Schultz.
So, yeah, Patty, one of the things you said, if we leave now, we're a little over $10 million, and I hope that we would fight 1.3 of that $1 million because of that buyout per se clause, because if that buyout clause in there under Gatsby standards, trust me, I know, that changes the whole definition of the contract to debt. You can't be on the hook for something and not call it debt. So I know there's been talks, I'm not getting into too much of that, but it will actually be less if we exit now. Now, the other thing that you mentioned that just now that kind of causes concern is you're saying that we've been stopped since 22, end of 22, and we've been paying the fee. That's not our fault they've been stopped. SP wasn't doing their part going after LA23 and WSP. So why have we been paying the fee when we assigned Infinity months ago, if not longer than that? So why are we paying the fee when this is all on them?
All right, so we did budget the fee in 2023 and in 2024, and in 2023 we started with Infinity in the second half of the year, and we went through the end of the year working with the previous project manager as well as those subs and trying to get the computer-aided drawings and trying to gain some cooperation. When we determined that we were not going to be successful there, we actually cut ties.
But I get all that, and my main question though is, unless if I'm misunderstanding what your statement earlier is, we were paying the fee because we've been stalled. But we're stalled because SP they didn't provide phases 1 and 2 like they were supposed to. So it's not stalled because of us, it's stalled because of them. So why are we paying the fee when they're not providing the part of their contract, what they were supposed to provide? I understand LA23 didn't pay the subs and all that, but that contract's with SP. Why are we paying the fee when it wasn't our fault? I mean, that to me, it goes back to they're not upholding their end of the contract. So I yield with that.
Commissioner Kognovich.
I could remember paying the fees when the last port director was here, because he put it up on the screens where, don't quote me, but it started somewhere around 40, 50,000. Each month it went up, and I think towards the end when he was fired, it was up to 80,000 a month we was paying.
It was never up to $80,000. It could have escalated to that amount over a period of time, but it never exceeded 50,000. And I mean, I can send you the details on what we paid every month. I can send you that on an email so that you can see it.
Any other comments from the commissioners? Machines are open. And the ordinance fails, 8-0. Next item.
E, a resolution authorizing Plaquemines Port to enter into a lease agreement with the Plaquemines Parish Emergency Operations Center and 911 Dispatch Center for a certain portion of the third floor of the Popich Building, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Commissioner Champagne.
I offer and ask for a second. Second by Commissioner Newsom. Any comments from the commission? Comments from the director?
No
Anything?
comments.
Any comments from the audience? From the commission? Machines are open. And it passes 8-0. Next item.
F, an ordinance to amend the 2024 Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District's operating expenditure budget, General Operations Division, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Commissioner Champagne.
I offer and ask for a second. Second by Commissioner McCarty. Director Tilson, you want to quickly touch on this? I know this is for the 230-ton units, just so everybody understands.
This is for the 230-ton AC units that are installed in the building. They are making a difference. We're very happy that we have them with this heat that's hitting right now. So, and then one of the things I'd like to point out is that the cost is approximately $151,000, and the parish is providing that invoice to the port. And at the next port meeting, you will see that $151,000 deducted away from the fund balance.
Thank you. Any comments from the commissioners? Machines are open. And it passes 8-0. Next item.
G, an ordinance to amend the 5-year capital improvements plan, MV Pride Dry Dock Project, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Commissioner Champagne.
I offer. Ask for a second. Second by Commissioner Newsom. Y'all both sound alike. I stand corrected. Ms. LaFrance. I do too. You want to make any comments on how important this is for the project?
Same thing, $360,000. You will see that deducted away, and we'll have at the next meeting, when you see our fund balance, not only will you see the difference, but we're going to show, what was taken away and for what purpose, everything that was taken away. But I'd just like to point out to the Port Commission and to the community and to the parish government that as of next month, the Pride is going to be taken out of service. It is our workhorse. It is our biggest ferry, and it makes a significant impact in moving the traffic on a daily basis, particularly during the rush hour. I've tasked Mr. Brown and his staff to give us the impact on what it's going to be to run those two ferries, and based on my calculations, and I'm looking for Mr. Brown to help me, but I think we're going to have to run both ferries all day, from the morning until after the rush hour in the evening, just to be able to keep up with the traffic. And I'm hoping that everything goes well and we can get that done within 2 months. But Mr. Brown has been very diligent in helping me to understand that, I mean, it could be as long as 6 months, but we will be working closely, with the yards and monitoring what's going on. We anticipate when we get the Pride back that all of those little bitty things that have been problems for us over the last couple of years, we're going to get it done right, and we're not going to have some of the problems that we've encountered in the past. So we will be posting on social media before it goes in the yards, during that period when it's in the yards, and we will be working diligently to minimize the impact on the community.
And just so the community knows, this isn't something that the port is driving. This is a Coast Guard required inspection. So we're forced into it.
And we will have updates not only on our website, but we will also have updates on the app. We encourage everyone to get the apps, and we will get this fixed as quickly as we can.
Any comments from the floor? From the commissioners? Commissioner Schultz?
Yes, thank you for clarifying that, because I have had a couple questions recently from residents hearing that we were only going to run one ferry during that time. I'm like, no, the plan has always been. So just for the record, 2 ferries, at least during rush hour, if not longer, will be ran during this time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments from commissioners? The machines are open. And it passes 8-0. Next item.
H, a resolution declaring the official intent of the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District to reimburse itself for expenditures with the proceeds of one or more series of revenue bonds and providing certain other matters in connection therewith. Commissioner Champagne.
I offer and ask for a second. Seconded by Commissioner McCarty. Director, would you like to expand on this, just so our constituency understands what we're trying to do here?
Yes, again, this tax exempt, this resolution does not commit us to anything, but what it does is it positions us where now we can look at options, and even if we were to spend some money after this is approved, and we want to roll that into a tax exempt bond, we will have the ability to do so. So again, no commitment, but we are now positioned, once this is approved, for us to be able to start the process of going after tax exempt money if we choose to do so, and that will be a process that will include our finance department, and we will be having meetings with the commission to ensure that everybody understands what are the different options that we want to look at and seek approval for before we get to a commission meeting. We want to make sure that we're aligned on what we plan to do.
This is just another tool in case we need it.
Another tool.
Okay, any comments from the floor?
Yeah, that set amount,
We
is that a set amount of bonds you had in mind?
No.
Okay, good. I don't see it on here, that's why.
Any other comments from the floor? From the commissioners? Machines are open. And it passes 8-0. Next item.
I, a resolution authorizing the Executive Director of Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District to advertise a request for proposals for professional legal services for the port and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Commissioner Champagne.
I offer and ask for a second. Seconded by Commissioner McCarty. Any comments from the floor? From the commissioners? Commissioner Edwards.
I'm still trying to understand what's happening here. So we getting ready to hire a professional person to come in, or are we getting a?
This is Dwyer Cambry. Remember a couple meetings ago we said we want to go out and get proposals. And Dwyer Cambry, that's what this is. It's just getting proposals from outside.
Oh, but this proposals, okay.
Okay. Anything else, Commissioner Edwards?
No, I'm good.
Any other commissioners? Machines are open. And it passes 8-0. Next item.
J, a resolution authorizing the Executive Director of Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District to advertise a request for quotes for building maintenance services for the port administrative buildings and properties, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Commissioner Champagne.
I offer and ask for a second. seconded by Commissioner McCarty. Director, would you like to expand on this?
Yes, I think everyone's aware that the port acquired the Popich building, which we're now referring to as the Port Administration Building. And this is just to put a maintenance contract in place for all of those maintenance items that are just required to take care for the building. I think the parish, had contracts in place, but they also had personnel that managed a lot of the maintenance issues. And since we've taken the building, we've patched the roof. We've replaced the air conditioning units. We've had additional AC work done. We've had a generator actually not breakdown, but a leak with a hazmat spill. So we've had a lot of different things going on with the building, but I will tell you that we have no surprises. We knew exactly what we were purchasing, and we remain committed to working to rehabilitate this building so that next year, the end of next year, we're not going to be having these same problems. We're going to go, and it will end up being a world-class office. And I think you guys will be seeing little things that we're doing on a month-by-month basis that's going to be really trying to upgrade that facility. And we think it's consistent with the port being a landlord port. We own that property. We're going to take pride in it, and we're going to make it very nice.
Thank you. Commissioner Newsom.
Yeah, with the name changing, you're not buying a new sign, huh?
We're actually going to rehabilitate the letters on the front of the building. It says today, Plaquemines Parish, right? And we're going to Plaquemines Parish Government. So we're going to recycle the letters and just make it Plaquemines Port.
Commissioner Kognovich.
Yes, the history of the building, for Ida, we was in there with the last administration and sitting there on generator and everything went black. So everybody's just looking at each other, and I asked, where's the generator? Well, it's in the stairwell over there.
Yeah.
So I went, the door was locked, so I went back, said, who's got a key? They said, here's the key. I said, who's got a spare water pump? They said, well, what you mean? I said, you could smell the radiator fluid, so we need to change the water pump. Well, why do we need a spare pump? I said, on our boats, we got a spare part to get going. They said, well, this ain't a boat. I said, yeah, it's the EOC building. You a boat. So spare parts that, it ain't going to cost that much money.
Yeah, you make a very good point, and we believe the right thing to do is to replace that generator. I mean, it probably could last another 10 or 15 years, but it really hasn't been maintained that well. And our thought is to replace it with a natural gas generator. Everything that we do with the building moving forward, and we'll make sure that the Port Commission is part of that process. We're going to harden the shell, make sure that we harden those windows, do a new roof, do a new generator. And we're going to make sure that that building is ready to withstand a hurricane, because me and my staff will be committed to staying in that building and being ready to respond after a hurricane leaves us.
That black foam and all, and you will never have to worry about, panels getting blown out or nothing.
Commissioner McCarty.
Mr. Kognovich has a good point about keeping spare ports. I don't know the capacity of that large generator, but I can speak to a home generator, which is natural gas. I keep extra filters and extra oil because it can only run for a certain amount of time before you have to change the oil. So we could keep that on hand as well.
Thank you.
Well, anytime I hear the word maintenance or anything this parish is doing, I get excited because we appear to have a history of not maintaining things well, but we're fixing that. So thank you for that. Machines are open. It passes 8-0. Next item.
K, a resolution authorizing the Executive Director of Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District to advertise a request for quotes for janitorial services for the port and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Commissioner Champagne.
I offer and ask for a second. Second. Commissioner LaFrance. Got it right. I don't think we need to belabor this. He's getting janitors to do the same thing, keep the building clean.
Including second floor.
Yep. Any comments from the audience? The commissioners, machines are open. And it passes 8-0. Next item.
L, an ordinance to amend the 2024 manpower structure and operating expenditure budget and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Commissioner Champagne.
I offer and ask for a second. Seconded by Commissioner Schultz. He's getting excited about this position. All right. Any comments from the floor? From the commissioners? Machines are open.
You didn't ask the port director if he had any comments.
No, you talk too much.
Well,
Next, passes 8-0.
I would just like to say, I'd like to
Talk about
thank Commissioner Schultz because he was definitely part of a process for us to really get to this point. And I mean, we had some lengthy discussions. And I think we all know that this has kind of been lingering out there for about a year. And I'm very happy with what we've come up with, and I think that this is going to be a tremendous help for the port. So thank you, Commissioner Schultz.
And I was joking, you do talk about, but you do put out good information. And I do thank you,
I know.
Commissioner Schultz, for that because it was, as a matter of fact, he coached us along this saying that you guys aren't paid enough for what you're looking to do.
Yep.
And thank you. So, next item on the agenda.
Talking about me.
There are no items under
Talking about
7, new
me.
business. 8, approval of the July 25th, 2024 regular meeting minutes.
Motion by Commissioner McCarty. Do I have a second? Second by Commissioner Newsom / LaFrance. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Oh, got to vote. I'm ready.
Councilmember, thank you.
And it passes 8-0. Motion to adjourn by Commissioner Schultz, seconded by Commissioner
Second.
anybody? LaFrance. Machines are open. I was waiting for him. I owed him one.
Councilmember McCarty. McCarty, please vote. Thank you.
And it passes 8 in favor, 1 against. Let the record state that the meeting has adjourned on August 8th at 5:05 p.m.